to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What's going on, Forgers? Welcome to Season 2, Episode number 88 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. As always, this podcast is brought to you by our outstanding supporters on patreon.com/HeroesForge. This is your show host, Jeff Reynolds, and I'm here with the co-host of the show, who is more awesome than a bar that plays Twitch on all of the TVs. It's Kristen, Ashton.
Oh my goodness, is it all the same channel? All different channels? Can you ask to change channels? What is this magical place?
Well, this magical place is real, and it's in North Hollywood, and I saw it on Yelp and about died. I imagine that it was heaven. Basically, they have a ton of board games, and you go in there, and all the TVs, it's an esports bar. So they're on Heroes, one's on League of Legends, another streamer that's just streaming out there. I mean, I'm sure you could ask to change the streams, I don't know, but it's awesome.
That is so cool. And this begs the question, who is going to be the first Twitch star to get their name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Probably have to do a couple movies to get up there. But I mean, what qualifies? I mean, maybe we have to change the parameters on how you get a Hollywood star of fame.
It's true. I mean, working in Hollywood, sure, that can be kept exclusive because it does require connections to Hollywood, but I imagine in time, because of all of this online entertainment and all of these places you can go to meet new people and see new ideas and experience new stories, there's gonna be something new coming up that's gonna become legendary like that.
Well, I think the ultimate equivalent to that is when you get put into a game. You get immortalized into a game, and we know games like World of Warcraft have done things like this. There are other games out there that have put people that are, super fans, content creators, maybe people that, also, I mean, just super fans have been put into the game. Some famous people too. Robin Williams has a couple tributes in World of Warcraft. There's some cool stuff out there.
That's a very, very great point, and it immortalizes them in a sense.
Absolutely. All right, let's get on with the show here, and we got a ton of stuff to talk about. And first and foremost, we need to thank our new patron supporters over on patreon.com/HeroesForge. Yoda Leia Hihu is awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the show week after week. You've been in the chat all the time, and you're on the chat tonight. So thank you so much, Yoda, for your support. And also, George A., you are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you so much for becoming a patron of Heroes Forge. If you too would like to throw us a buck or two and help support the show going week after week, you can do that on the site again, which is patreon.com/HeroesForge, and join these awesome people, Kristen.
These amazing, amazing folk. We thank you so, so much. It truly does mean a lot.
It really does. Let's talk about some cool stuff that we have coming up that the patrons have made possible for us to do. And that first thing is our specialty stream coming up on Tuesday. This Tuesday, just 2 days away, we are doing a special Kel'Thuzad stream at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on this channel, twitch.tv/Amove TV. You're not going to want to miss it.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the Call of Kel'Thuzad like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, the weird thing is, Kristen, that earlier in the week, I got this package at my front doorstep, and I had no idea what this package was. It happens often because, ordering stuff from Amazon, not sure what's coming, and, stuff like that. So I opened up this package, and there was just this phone, and it's like an old school phone, and it looks like frosted over old school phone, and it says, "Will you answer the call?" on it.
Well, that makes me wonder if Blizzard's sending out packages now. Is it like cold to the touch or anything?
No, it's just, I can't explain it. More on this when we get to the stream on Tuesday. I'm sure it has something to do with that. But who knows? There's some sort of magical entity I get. I like this feeling I get around this phone. But who knows? Speaking of Kel'Thuzad, let's talk about Resurrecting Kel'Thuzad, which is an awesome YouTube series that Blizzard is putting out about the development process of Heroes, Kel'Thuzad specifically. Kristen, have you had a chance to check it out?
Yes, I have seen, I believe, episodes 1 through 2 so far, so I still need to catch up with the rest of them. But if you enjoy behind-the-scenes stuff, Like, I know we all did growing up, seeing how they made the dinosaurs and the Independence Day explosions. This is pretty much it, but for the video game world. And it's really darn neat to see everything come together.
Yeah, it's what we talk about this show week after week, where what is the process to designing heroes, and this is a huge gateway into it. They're short little 5-6 minute videos on YouTube. Check them out. I believe there's up to 4 episodes out right now and a few more on the way. Check it out on the Heroes of the Storm YouTube channel. Heroes of the Storm, not Storb. Whatever Storb is, don't go there. Let's talk about the next thing, which is BlizzCon Countdown. Your friendly HeroesForge BlizzCon Countdown, 60 days.
That's 2 months. That's 2 months. Can you believe it? We're in September already. This is amazing. I am so excited for this year's BlizzCon. I don't think I could get more excited every year, but it happens.
It absolutely does. And we had the pleasure of joining the Nexus Trolls cast the other day, and that was an awesome episode that we recorded with those guys who are just total rock stars. And it's the first time that they get to go to BlizzCon, and it's kind of like the first time you can take your kids to Disneyland, right? You want to see it all through their eyes.
That's very, very true, because there's a magic that once you've experienced it, it's not that it disappears entirely. It just gets toned down because you've experienced it already. You're past that breaking of that wall of inexperience. So you're right, to see that through new people's eyes is just heart melting.
Yeah, it's great, and it's going to be awesome. If this is your first time going to BlizzCon, buckle up, because it's one hell of a ride. All right, we have one last bit of news here, which is that our show, we are going to bring you this show 3 times in 1 week, because we're recording a little early this week. We'll be recording on Friday, September 8th at 7 p.m. Pacific, again, right here on twitch.tv/Amove TV, and not on Sunday. So we're bringing it to you a few days early, and then you can, listen to it at home this weekend instead of in traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll be a lot more fun. You can listen to it while you're relaxed, ready to go on that mental mind journey that we go on every week.
Called Forging a Hero. And speaking of, let's get on with it and let's forge.
Let's forge.
The guys from the Nexus Trolls, we did a little bit of a mini forge at the end of their show, and it was a blast. And then they went and asked me if, since we put the vote up on Twitter, who usually wins. And Kristen, I said, you do.
Well, I mean, it's the numbers are there, right? But it's not something that I beat anybody up for. I to your knowledge, don't have anybody that floods the votes.
It's rigged. The votes are rigged. No, they are not rigged. Your builds are just killer, and you don't have to beat anybody up for it because yours are just that good. So, speaking of, you won last week, so you got to choose the hero for this week. And this is one heck of a choice. Who are we forging this week on the show?
Well, this one is actually one that's been requested before by you listeners, so I was excited that this was the week Johnny Awesome comes to the Nexus.
Johnny Awesome. I have a horrible fanboy Blizzard confession. I had no idea who Johnny Awesome was.
I could say that's surprising, but there are so many Blizzard universes, so many Blizzard games. It's understandable that Johnny Awesome could have been missed because he came with kind of like the revamping of World of Warcraft. And had I not played through from the beginning to get ready for Legion, I would have missed him entirely too.
So what's his backstory, Christine? Because there might be some other people out there that are not sure who Johnny Awesome is. He is from World of Warcraft, but what does he do?
Well, Johnny Awesome, member of the infamous raid group Ubertown, owner of Frost Saber Dazzle, rider of Celestial Steed Twinkles, adventurer of Hillsbrad Foothills, AFKer during the battle against Illidan Stormrage. Johnny Awesome is the one hero in WoW we all wish we could be.
So it's an NPC, but it is in the game as if it was a hero controlled by a person.
Correct. And the best part is when you first meet Johnny Awesome. You're in Hillsbrad Foothills, and you're put on a horse and asked to give quests out to adventurers that come by. So the last to come by before this quest ends is this character, this blood elf named Johnny Awesome, and he talks with flowery words, big paragraphs. It's clear he loves himself more than he could possibly love anything else in this world, and demands that you give him a quest that anybody could do, but I guess whatever, I'll do it.
Perfect. I mean, these sorts of personalities are really fun to forge and really fun to play with. So I had some fun doing research, finding out who Johnny Awesome was. And he's in the Brawlers Guild too in Legion. He's one of the final battles in the Brawlers Guild. So I don't do PvP. So that's a whole nother reason why I was just never acquainted with Johnny himself, but after this week I have been. So we've got some kits to talk about. If this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. We're just going to pretend like Johnny Awesome's in the game, and we're going to talk about what he would be like if he was. And we're going to start with mine, and we start always with the role classification for Johnny, and I went with Assassin.
I think that works. He is a hunter in Warcraft, after all. Technically, he likes to believe he's the best hunter ever.
And being AFK is, something that we have to deal with in games all the time, right? I mean, it's the most frustrating thing when you're playing a game of heroes and somebody DCs. I know a lot of the DCs are not the player's fault. I've DC'd a couple of times, just even in the Team League games that we've played, just because internet issues happen. But this specific instance in Warcraft is a little different because people, be right back, bio, or be right back, wife aggro, or whatever it is, and they leave the computer and they don't come back for a while. I think that's what they're kind of going for the feel here with Johnny Awesome.
Exactly. And the best moment I came across this was I was fighting, I was playing as Illidan, fighting against Johnny's team. And in the background, he's AFK the entire fight. The entire fight. It was amazing. And you only see it for a split second if you're even paying attention to those mongrels in front of you. But as soon as you see it and you recognize who it is, you know that you found a gold mine of a character.
And you're talking about World of Warcraft, right? That's where you played Illidan, not Heroes.
Correct. Not in Heroes. In World of Warcraft, there's a point where you take on Illidan during the fight at the end of Burning Crusade, and you pretend to fight a raid group and you'll wipe them.
Which is awesome. That part was really, really awesome. And of course, like you said, Johnny's in the background, just AFK. So this is the next part where we talk about if we were to give the character a name, what would it be? Well, it's obviously going to be Johnny Awesome because that's his name. But like you said in the description, since he's a hunter, I'm also bringing Dazzle, his spirit beast frost saber pet, into the Nexus as well.
And that's great because when you fight him in the battle arena, Dazzle's one of the main things that fights you.
Absolutely. So let's get into the trait here. The first trait, or the trait from my kit, is called Away. So it's commonly known that when a battle gets tough, Johnny is, he's AFK. We all know the feeling of having a player be AFK while trying to play a game, and it's crappy. The good news is that Johnny has his Spirit Beast Frost Saber Dazzle to cover him in the Nexus. In this kit, Johnny will have limited abilities and the player will control Dazzle when he is away. The player will be able to control the movement of Johnny on the battlefield. When this trait is activated, Johnny will go AFK and take a seat. When he goes AFK, Dazzle will spawn and will be controllable by the player. Dazzle will need to stay in a predetermined distance away from Johnny at all times and will not be able to leave his side. They have a shared health pool, and if this trait is activated again, Johnny will take control again and Dazzle will disappear into the mist. Dazzle moves at a mounted speed at all times and must stay within range of Johnny.
Interesting. So kind of a different way to do a Rexar Misha.
Yeah, so I didn't want to go down the Rexar Misha route, so I'm like, wait, what if you just switched characters and they just had a shared health pool? So Johnny runs in, sees the battle's coming, immediately goes AFK, takes a seat, and then Dazzle comes out to take over the fight.
I love that flavor, that as soon as the fight breaks out, Johnny's AFK, because you would have to force that, right? You would have to have that worked into his kit so that it's necessary. So in that case, would Dazzle be more powerful than Johnny?
Absolutely. So Dazzle is the true hero here. Johnny is just the conduit for Dazzle in my kit.
Just this, the power from whence Dazzle could be born, which speaks to, I guess, how amazing Johnny is on the inside as a person.
Absolutely. I mean, he just puts it in Dazzle's hands. Yo, Dazzle, take care of it. Take care of it. So now we'll talk about mounting abilities. So I think this goes without saying, but Johnny would definitely need Twinkles, the celestial steed, to ride into battle, which is his horse that, if I'm reading all of this correctly, gets killed and buried and is still there?
Yes. And it is not a very happy moment, because it's not the horse's fault that Johnny went somewhere he wasn't level enough to do. He should have waited. He should have had a friend. But no, I think, if I recall correctly, that pony is buried feet up in the ground.
Yep, it is. I mean, that's the images that I saw. So Blizzard is resurrecting Kel'Thuzad. I'm resurrecting Twinkles.
You would have to. I mean, what else would he ride? He would refuse to ride anything else. I think part of his kit would be that he wouldn't ride anything else. He would refuse it. You have to have Razzle. Or Razzle. Dazzle. Twinkle. Twinkle, little star. This is as bad as Kale Thoughts and KT. He would need Twinkles.
The names for Johnny stuff is just hilarious. Let's get into some basic abilities here. So this first one is called Prowl. And again, this is a Dazzle ability. So Dazzle becomes stealth and can activate this again to pounce on a selected target. This pounce does massive damage and stuns the target for a short amount of time. If the target is stunned close to Johnny, they take increased damage. The thought here is to lure the target close to Johnny and then unleash an ambush on him.
This is pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk through the away switch back and forth. How long does it take to summon Dazzle? Just immediate, as soon as you sit down?
Yeah, I think it takes an immediate time to summon Dazzle, but it takes time to get Johnny back from being AFK. Maybe he's a little like drowsy as he's standing up, you know? So you can't just be constantly switching on and off, but yeah.
That works to the character too, right? He can go AFK in a second, but to get him back, who knows how long that's going to take. Maybe there's a random number generator in there going. You never know when Johnny's going to be back. And then how much space does Dazzle have to prowl around?
I would say a good amount of space. So, I mean, I don't even know what to equate it to. A good circle, he could fill a lane. Like, he could go to the top of the lane or the bottom of a lane, or that same distance in a, circumference around Johnny.
Okay, cool. So then would this be based on like tiers of circles getting closer, or would it kind of be a smooth gradient inward that affects this queue?
I see what you're saying. So I think it would be the same kind of thing that we're seeing with Kel'Thuzad, where if you hover over this ability, you'll see the big range of where Dazzle can prowl or, go stealth, and then where he can pounce on you. But there'll be a smaller circle that's around Johnny. So if the enemy hero is around Johnny trying to get, a cheap shot in there, you can pounce on them when they're in that circle, and then, you've got the increased stuff.
This is pretty cool because it's making it sound like you want to do an ambush hunter, like straight up. And that's really neat because this is a way to do ambush without stealth, in a sense, right?
Yeah, and you draft this against melee heroes and things like that, because if not, nobody would do anything to Johnny because they're not close enough. But if they get close enough, then bam, you're stunned. The second basic ability is called Binding Shot. Now, Binding Shot is an ability for Johnny. It lives on W. So Johnny fires an arrow from his bow that binds a player to him for a short amount of time. This ability gives Dazzle the time to deal damage to the target before they move out of this movement circle. The combo here is to use Binding Shot and then right away use your trait Away to summon Dazzle and begin dealing damage.
Interesting. That binds the player to him. So kind of like the chains of Kel'Thuzad. Would it pull them inward or just keep them at that distance?
I think it would just keep them at that distance. So if they're running away, you deactivate your trait, you're on Johnny, you hit this W, you might hit him with this skill shot, it locks him in place, kind of like a Butcher ult. Doesn't silence them, obviously, it just locks him in place, and then Dazzle comes out as soon as Johnny sees the fight coming, he goes AFK, Dazzle's there.
Yeah, exactly. Or the goat in Jurassic Park, right? Just stuck on that little spike, eating grass. And little do they know, Dazzle from the bushes.
A giant T-Rex is just like Dazzle. So Dazzle also has a W. So when you're in Johnny form, you got that binding shot, but when you're in Dazzle form, you have a W that's called Spirit Beast Blessing. So when this activates, Dazzle is able to make Johnny immune for a short amount of time. So it lives on its own cooldown. So you can make Johnny immune with this W. It's kind of the reverse of a normal hunter here, where the pet is taking care of the keeper.
And that's great against the stealthy Valeeras. I've seen a lot of Valeeras lately, and they do love, if they're good, hunting down those backline stealthy characters that usually just wait to go in. So this is a wonderful way to control that, so Johnny's not useless if you're up against a Valeera.
Right. So the thought here is to bait them with the T-Rex goat, and then when they get close enough to the goat, make the goat immune, and then pounce on them when they're there, and then they would get stunned. Hopefully your friends are there, and then there's a big DPS party.
Yeah, totally. And if Johnny takes damage, you're not knocked out of Dazzle form. You remain in that Dazzle form until you physically switch it back.
Yep, and what you don't want to do is leave Johnny somewhere where he's taking a bunch of damage, because then... Or it kind of feels like a Sergeant Hammer kind of thing, where you got to siege up in a place you know you can siege up, but then move out of it when you're in danger, and that's when you would reactivate and get back to Johnny. So the third one, though, is a little helpful basic ability called Fish and Meat. That's right, Fish and Meat. Cats died in World of Warcraft, Fish and Meat. So while controlling Johnny, the player can activate this ability to drop food for Dazzle on the battlefield. While controlling Dazzle, the player has a short amount of time to eat the food to restore health to both Johnny and Dazzle, because they have a shared health pool. If Dazzle eats 3 meals, he will be quote-unquote well-fed and gain a health and movement speed increase.
Ooh, can these piles of food be targeted by enemies?
Yes, so they can be taken out by the enemy, and it only lasts for a short amount of time. So you know a team fight's coming, Johnny drops down a couple of pieces of food, again, goes AFK, and then Dazzle gobbles them up and then runs into the battle.
Nice. So would this have stacks in that case, or would it just be a very short cooldown so you could just spam this all over the battlefield?
It would have stacks, so you'd only have a certain amount of loot that you could drop down for your pal to eat, and then it would, slowly recharge and have stacks. It's basically a self-heal.
I like it. I like it a lot. And then, of course, the bonus at the end there, the health and move speed buff would be great for going in and taking out anybody that's gotten too close. Bravo. And it's such a different way to do a hunter too, right? I mean, this is very, very different from Rexar, which is amazing because there's always that fear. How do you bring 2 hunters to the Nexus, but have them be very different from one another?
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's a ton of really cool ways you can play around with how pets work in the game, and I think it's really cool. I brainstormed probably 3 or 4 just coming up with this, so that's that. So Fish and Meat, you can heal yourself up. Now in the heroic realm here, the first one is called Kill Command. We touched on this a little bit before, but Kill Command, when the player is controlling Dazzle, they can activate Kill Command. As soon as it's activated, Johnny springs up and immediately fires an arcane shot that will deal massive damage to its target. This will have a visual similar to what Malthael and Greymane players have when their ultimates show that enemy can be killed by this ultimate. So it will show the Johnny player targets that can be eliminated. After it's used, Johnny goes AFK immediately again, and Dazzle will join the battle.
Nice. So you activate it, you immediately fire on a chosen target, and boom, it's done.
Yep, it's a high damage dealing It's not a skill shot, so it's like an automatic hit to the target that you click on when you shoot it, and then basically Johnny just pops up, fires the shot, goes AFK again. But it's that kill command where Johnny's actually doing it and not Dazzle, where in World of Warcraft you give your pet the kill command.
Gotcha. But what I mean, Johnny's the pet, isn't he? I mean, if we're who's the pet, who's the master? With Misha, Rexar. Clearly it's Rexar. So why wouldn't we have this for Johnny and Dazzle?
Absolutely. I just love the idea of the roles being swapped. Now, the second heroic is really simple. It's called Ubertown, which Kristen brought up is the name of the guild that Johnny is a member of. So Johnny and this is a passive heroic. So Johnny and Dazzle no longer have a shared health pool. They work just like Rexar and his pet Misha. So they have their own health pools. If Dazzle goes down, Johnny's still there. Just wait for the cooldown on Dazzle to come back up. Throw Dazzle back out on the battlefield. But you've got two things going at the same time. So you can be using Binding Shot and all of these other things in a more fluid fashion than if they have shared health pools.
Oh, you're right. So this would be the higher skill cap ultimate, hands down. But when mastered, probably the pick you would have to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think it really just gives a whole bunch of utility to you where you can be a little less afraid to use Dazzle, because if Dazzle goes down, it doesn't count as a full hero kill. You're not on cooldown. You're still able to do your stuff. You can still Binding Shot people to yourself to help your team. Dazzle's just not there to seal the deal.
That's true. And think of having a W on command. That saves you from pretty much everything. It makes you immune as you're running around.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a cool idea. So if I had to sum up Johnny Awesome, I mean, it's awesome sauce. That's what I'm calling it. You're just in there, but you're always AFK. It's really the Dazzle kit here, where you're controlling this cat pet that's really controlling Johnny.
Well, there we go. You give him the old razzle dazzle, stun and fluster 'em.
That's right, folks. We're here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, where you can hear, there'll probably be one or two really well thought out tunes.
Well, it's our lives, right? We are creative people. We love creating for heroes, and we love creating songs, which we have shown. It's part of what we are. We're performers. Can't deny it, Jeff.
That's right. A 5, 6, 7, 8. On to the next thing in the show here. We've got to, before we move on to Kristen's kit, we've got some people that we need to thank. A huge thank you again to all of our patrons for help supporting this show. And also a thank you to Jonathan Marks for giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. The 5-star reviews on iTunes really help the show grow week after week. So thank you, Jonathan, for giving us a 5-star review and for your really kind words. And if you like the show and listen to us on iTunes, drop us a 5-star review to get a shout out right here on the show. Kristen, all right, here we go. Bring it on. What is your Johnny Awesome Kit role classification here?
I went with Specialist, actually. Once this was all said and done, Specialist, mostly because it doesn't really fit any other role.
All right, Specialist. Yeah, I was actually playing around with Tank, but never Specialist. So I'm excited to hear how you made this work. So hit me with the trait.
All right, the trait is called AFK. How do you have a Johnny Awesome trait that is not related to being away or AFK? All right, so AFK, Johnny's team levels up his powers for him. Each of his abilities is empowered by the actions of his teammates because Johnny is too busy to complete his own quests.
That fits the lore so well. So his team levels up his powers for him. Talk a little bit about how this works in the game and what the player sees.
So you know how you can now choose a variety of traits that are quests. Uh-huh. You do X, you get X. So each of his abilities is a quest, but they're quests that have to be completed by his teammates. He adds nothing to these quests.
Oh my gosh, that is such a cool idea. Even if they brought an idea like this into the Nexus where other people are completing quests for friendly teammates, so cool. Like, imagine there was a quest for Uther that was land a stun, and if Thrall gets a hit of an ability off of the person that you've stunned, Thrall gets 1 tick on his quest. Or something like that.
Oh man, you could use that for purposes of good and bad if you wanted to. Could you imagine the wonderful but yet devious things the Heroes devs could do if they so were inclined?
Oh,
do
totally.
this or else you won't win.
Now imagine anti-quests. So like, imagine if the enemy Uther picked a quest that was an anti-quest where if a certain hero, they can assign it to a hero. So they say, I'm doing this anti-quest on Vala, and Vala knows that if she gets stunned 10 times by Uther, something bad happens to her.
You could secretly build it so you train players to get better as they keep playing this game. It's genius. That's how you do it. That's how you fix all of the problems in Heroes. Done. We're done. Good job, everyone.
We have been completely trumped, though, by Ogre22 in the chat, who says if Uther stuns Arthas, he gets a point of satisfaction.
My heart. You would give Uther satisfaction, but I guess that would be up to Arthas to deny Uther the satisfaction.
I can't get no satisfaction. Let's get on with this. We got completely derailed. So this trait AFK, such a cool idea. And I could see this in the game in one way or another. What are you thinking for mount? Are you going with Twinkles?
Twinkles. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Man, he would, like I said before, he wouldn't ride anything else. I mean, maybe you could make an undead Twinkles that he would reluctantly mount. But all the same, Johnny Awesome, he needs his mount.
Yeah, I think Twinkles is right. But I do like your undead idea because Twinkles, RIP.
RIP, Twinkles. Too soon you left this world.
First basic ability.
First one, call Dazzle. Right? You gotta have Dazzle in there. After his teammates complete his quest to kill a certain number of lane minions, Johnny can now summon Dazzle. This is a unit Johnny can use to target enemies, so kind of like Kerrigan's Ultralisk. It also gives him movement speed should he need to, go back and check on something in the base. He's not running away.
All right, but like you said before, the friendly teammates have to complete a quest in order for this basic ability to even be active.
Exactly. There's a certain number of lane minions they have to be around to kill. Otherwise, it's just not Dazzle's not happening in this game.
So Dazzle is working like Misha in the respect where you're able to control where Dazzle goes.
Correct. It's more you control who he targets. So I'm thinking of Dazzle as you throw it out and it'll die or it won't die. Hopefully you choose a good target and you choose good timing so it can go for the full duration. But otherwise, once people catch on to this ability, it probably won't be a threat.
I see what you're saying, like the Ultralisks now. I get it. So that's a really cool idea. I love the quest completion thing. So cool. Okay, what's your W?
W is called Beatific Presence. For this quest, his team must deal a certain amount of damage to the enemy heroes. When done, Johnny is able to strike a pose so awe-inspiring that all nearby enemies are stunned and blinded in rapture as they gaze upon his glorious appeal.
So he strikes a pose, kind of like just, Johnny Bravo. Strikes a pose, and then it just stuns everybody in a circle.
Yes, I would imagine he puts himself out there, and then he Prince Charming, Johnny Bravo, maybe there's a number of poses he could strike based on how many enemy heroes are there.
I love it. I love it. This is a really cool idea. He'd have to battle Stukov, though, for the best pose, because at the end of Stukov's little dance, he does rock a pretty awesome pose.
It's true. Maybe that would be one of the dances when you're up against Stukov. They have a little dance off, a pose off.
I love it. So when they're stunned, if both Q and W have been completed, that's when you can call down Dazzle, like you said, to get the most value for that Q ability.
Exactly, because the people would be stunned, and maybe when they take damage, they're knocked out of it. So the idea would be to get as many people as you could stunned and then target one person, and hopefully the most squishy.
That's a really cool idea. Okay, what's your E?
All right, E is called Scoff. Once a certain level of structural damage has been achieved by his team, Johnny Awesome is finally able to unleash a well-timed scoff at his foes, showing them just how little he cares for their pathetic powers. During this, he laughs at them, lowering their armor, attack speed, and move speed.
Whoa, this is a triple threat right here. Armor, attack speed, and movement speed. I would love, after watching Resurrecting Kel'Thuzad and the art portions with the animation artists, I would love to see what this would look like in the game with the poses, with your W, and then now your E, your Scoff. It would look pretty cool.
It would be very, very amusing. You'd have to do a big animation so that everyone can see it, and then like hands on the hips, head back, ha 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 ha, very deep, sonorous laugh so that everyone can hear in range.
All right, so this begs the question, is this for enemy heroes only, or does it affect minions and mercenaries?
This would be for enemy heroes only, because I believe if we were to look at the D&D stats, the minions and mercenaries wouldn't have high enough intelligence to understand what he was doing.
Okay, how about the pose?
The pose, again, I think just heroes.
Okay, cool. So I'm seeing the combo wombo here with the W, where you freeze them all in place. You call down Dazzle, who's doing damage. As soon as that pose starts to wear off, then you hit them with the Scoff as they're trying to get away, and then, wow, you've really Johnny Awesomed them.
Exactly. And I mean, by the time you have E, hopefully they've lost a few structures as well. So now they're feeling really bad. And then you're just hitting them where it hurts. He's really a rude character.
Rude to his friendly teammates too. Like, you guys do it without me, because I'll just come in there and do my thing. What's your first heroic ability?
The first one is called Twinkle Twinkle. Tired of losing, Johnny's outfit is quickly changed out for his twink gear. The summon, it's a summon, and it involves pieces of his armor switching to different, more impressive pieces of armor. Once complete, Johnny is given at least a 5-level bonus to all of his basic attacks and abilities.
So this is him going through his inventory, going through his bag. He doesn't have his predetermined sets like built up in his character profile. He's going in there and just doing it himself piece by piece. So it takes a little bit of time.
Exactly. You know, you got to search. Sometimes you actually have to type in the search to find it. Maybe you left it back in the bank, so you got a hearth. But either way, you're going to put together, it's going to look hideous. He thinks it looks amazing because it's very bright and shiny, but I think everyone knows it's not that cool, Johnny.
He needs a transmog.
Maybe at level 20, you call it transmog, and now you get like a plus 10 level buff because you've got the armor set bonus.
So wait, you're saying 5-level bonus here. So that's huge. So this is all of his basic attacks and all of his abilities.
Yeah, he would be impressive. This would be why, as a team member, you would want to help unlock all of Johnny's abilities. Because if he goes Twinkle Twinkle, there's a good chance you're going to wipe the enemy team.
Yeah, and you wouldn't go Twinkle Twinkle if you didn't have the full kit unlocked while you went in there. I mean, I don't know. What's your second heroic? Maybe we can make a decision after that.
With the second one, Ubertown. You gotta call out the guild. There's a lot of guild love, so Ubertown. What's better than one member of your raid group? every member of your raid group. Members of Ubertown arrive in groups to help Johnny fell his enemies. With a total of 25 to go through, they arrive with packs of 4 to 5 to swarm the weak foes.
Okay, so you're calling on raid groups here of 4 to 5, and it's going to total 25 in the end. So what does the rotation work like? Is it these 4 people run in, when they're defeated, the next 4 run in, or is it just they can Ubertown you and just swarm you like a March of the Murlocs?
No, I would imagine it would be like the first thing you said, where you got your first group, they're ready to go, they're going to do what they can, but they're like smaller than he is and weaker, so they all fall. Johnny gives them a terrible look, and he looks for it. More members come in, and they do what they can, but they're felled, and it keeps going like that until all the members of Ubertown have made their appearance.
Oh, that's really cool. So, question here, can the members of Ubertown help Johnny complete his quests? Will the quests be allowed to be completed by these other teammates? Because if so, that's the ultimate that you take when you don't have your quests completed.
That's a great idea. And I think you would have to, right? Because what if you're with a team that's not helping? How do you kind of force yourself into a better position? Yeah.
That is a really, really cool idea. So are these members of Ubertown different role classifications, or are they just all, sword wielding, humans that run in there and,
they would be the members. So all different races, all different classes. You'd see some favorite names. I mean, some of them run in circles 'cause they're scared. They're not actually attacking anything. Others just go whole ham and blow up because they didn't wait for the group. I mean, it's a laughable attack.
It's a true pug group out there that sometimes happens with pugs, right?
Exactly. You hope for the best, but you can only hope for the best in the end.
This kit is so cool. I love the combos here. So, Kristen, if you could sum it all up, what would you say?
I'd say if looks could kill.
Just if looks could kill, Johnny Awesome would be a killer.
Bada bing, bada boom, baby.
I love it. I really like the combos. I love when we can build these kits and have these really cool combos in there that we think of. That's sort of how I try to think now, is how can I make this a combo like a Kerrigan feel, or something that would really pair well with another ability.
That's a very, very great way to think of it. And I think that's a more advanced way of thinking in Heroes, right? Because if you're starting a hero, you're not thinking of synergy. You're simply trying to figure out your QWE. You're simply trying to figure out what heroic to take at what time, and also what you should be doing on the map, who you're good against, who you're not good against, how do you 1v1 somebody. But once you get past that beginner level, kind of that into the intermediate advanced, you do have to start thinking about the combos, because the combos and talent and ability synergy really make the difference between a good hero player and a great hero player.
Totally. Really, really well said. And it took me a long time to realize that and to get into the combo groove. Well, we've got 2 kits here, but they're not quite complete yet. We need to talk about dance moves and specialty skin. So, Kristen, hit us with your specialty skin.
Okay, well, we need to have a Jenny Awesome skin. And the reason for this is that in one of the undead areas, there was one of the guys who kept giving me quests, kept talking about this beautiful girl named Jenny and how he loved her and wanted to marry her. And so you get to the end of the quest line and it's Johnny. It's not Jenny, it's Johnny. But these blood elves, they're so freaking beautiful. It was a great comedic moment. That 10 out of 10, Blizzard. That was amazing. But I think if we're going with like a classic one, he'd need a Prince Charming skin with agony far more painful than yours.
A little Into the Woods reference there. I like it. The Jenny thing is really funny, yeah. Maybe I'm drawing a conclusion here. I think this is a Horde Alliance rift here, why I don't know Johnny Awesome.
That... because you played mostly Alliance,
yeah.
Correct? Yes, yes. And Johnny he's very prominent with a lot of the undead starting areas now. So if you follow the undead chest quest chain, you're going to run across Johnny. That's too funny.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I know he does a lot of alliance things too after doing the research, but maybe that's why he kind of missed my sight. So my specialty skin, stick with me on this one. I'm going with a Jumanji skin for Johnny Awesome, but he's going to be Van Pelt. You know, the guy that has the rifle that's shooting and looking after Alan Parrish. You know that?
Yes. I love Van Pelt. He was one of my favorite villains growing up. He was so good, and I love that actor ever since I saw him in that role because he did such a great job playing the dad and then playing that crazed hunter.
Yeah, that movie is great in general. So this is how I imagine the animations would work with the AFK trait, is that Van Pelt would get sucked into the Jumanji board game when a random battle pet would come out of the Jumanji board game to be like the elephant, and that would be his pet Dazzle for that time. And then when they switched back, Van Pelt would come out of the game and then keep going.
Dude, that's awesome. I support this entirely. And if you haven't ever seen Jumanji, watch Jumanji.
What are you doing if you haven't seen Jumanji? They're making a
remake.
There
are younger people out there now who may not have seen Jumanji. I mean, I like to think it came out just yesterday, but it's been over a decade now.
Yeah, I like to imagine that if I ever have kids, it'll be like, welcome to the world. Here's Jumanji.
Yep, Jumanji, Jurassic Park, Congo, Airplane, all of the classics. None of that new stuff.
Yeah, none of those Power Rangers in their 4K glory.
Right? In our day, that was low res, fuzzy Rita Repulsa, awesome Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's right. So my dance move for Johnny is going to be the cat at the piano dance. And I put a link in the show notes so you can watch this if you don't know what it is. But there is a cat that is playing piano because there's a human off screen that's controlling the cat's arms. So that's what would be happening with Johnny and Dazzle.
Piano get do 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 do. That's great. So would the keyboard be up really high and you'd be picking them up and doing it? You'd get to see the behind the scenes as it happens.
Yes, if you have the willpower to type /dance, you get to see the behind the scenes action of Johnny and Dazzle doing the cat at the piano dance.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. What's your dance move?
I was thinking he would do a catwalk strut because he is a model, you know what he means, and he does his little turn on the catwalk.
There's 3 songs in this episode. There have been 3 songs, and this is such a great idea that it gives me an idea. You could make him a Zoolander skin.
I don't know why I didn't think of that, but you're absolutely right. And it wouldn't be Zoolander. It would be Zoolander and Hansel, and you got to choose between the two. But I would put him in a Hansel skin. I think that's more his personality.
That'd be great. That would be really great. Oh yeah, there's tons of. Maybe it's just different skin variations become different models from Zoolander. But Zoolander, the name works with the hunter too.
That's true. And what would his pet be named then?
I don't know.
Le Tigre?
Sure. Anything. Your pet could be named
Blue Steel.
There you go. There you go. Very funny. All right, after all of that, we can say that Johnny Awesome, believe it or not, has been forged. Chad is saying that you can only turn right with the Zoolander skin.
I'm not an ambi-turner.
Oh, these kits are so cool, so fun. With Kristen's kit, the awesome combo wombos of having your pet come out and do some serious damage, but to be on the battlefield for a long enough time because the enemy heroes are frozen with her second basic ability, and then her third basic ability just really cool to be able to scoff in their face and then give them all a debuff. And then if you want to go with any of her heroics, you can get twinked out with Twinkle Twinkle or Ubertown to call all of your friends down and join in the battle, all fueled by the trait AFK, which forces your teammates to do all the work for you. In my kit, it's a little different way of thinking how we see a hunter and a pet, where Johnny's actually the pet and Dazzle runs the show with cool abilities like Prowl, being able to go stealth, and also the pet being able to make Johnny invulnerable and having that kill command come down and just deal massive damage on the enemy.
It's a really cool way to take, again, it's one of those heroes where you don't have much of a background. So it's really, really interesting to see with Johnny Awesome, how far do you take the hilarity of what he's supposed to be versus taking him serious as a hunter, right? Because a player who would play Johnny Awesome has spent a lot of time getting the right gear and all of that stuff. But at the same time, their personality can just be so atrocious, you can't think of them as anything more than a joke. So where's the balance?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like, I don't think that characters like Johnny Awesome are outside the realm of someone that would be an actual hero added to the game, though.
No, not, and I mean, look at Alarak, for instance, how much love there is for him, and he is pompous. He's probably the most pompous hero we have in the Nexus at the moment.
Yeah, calling for Alarak announcer.
I think, yeah, we all are. So here's to hoping. Maybe BlizzCon, right? Maybe that'll be one of the big reveals. As you guys have been asking for it. We've been working on it. Behold, the best and only announcer you will ever need.
The Alarak announcer. That'd be great. Oh, man. Johnny Awesome was indeed awesome to talk about and a lot of fun. Kristen, where can people find you in the interwebs when you're not on this show?
In the interwebs, you can find me at Dream Destroyer, that is DRMDESTRYR, over at Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
And what are you working on your stream now?
Well, we are working through Batman Arkham Origins and Dark Souls 2 still, but Dark Souls 2 is going a lot better than Dark Souls 1.
Oh, that's good. I haven't played either of those games, so I'll have to tune in and check it out. Check out Kristen's streams for all the awesome content and also the Into the Nexus pre-show that she does with the killer cosplay. I'm telling you, it's killer. If you're looking for me, you can find me right here on HeroesForge. We record the show live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV. But episode change alert again, just a reminder, this coming Sunday, we're actually going to be dark, but we're recording 3 days early on Friday, September 8th at 7 p.m. Pacific. I guess that's 2 days early. Wait, so Saturday, yeah, 2 days early. Friday, September 8th at 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on our same channel, twitch.tv/Amove TV. And don't forget to tune in to our special stream on Tuesday, our Kel'Thuzad special. It'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific on this same channel. And we're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have some awesome stuff. We'll be on the Battle.net launcher. It's going to be crazy. And who knows, maybe we will answer the call, if you know what I'm saying. Check it out on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here. You can follow the show on Twitter at Forge Heroes, where you can vote on which one of these two kits you think won the evening, and the voter gets to choose who we forge next week. If you have an idea for a hero that you'd like to see on the show, send us an email, contactheroesforge@gmail.com. We've gotten a couple of really great ideas over the last 2 weeks. I really want to talk about them, Kristen, because they're so cool, but we're going to save them.
We gotta save them. It's the anticipation, right? So that when we hit them, it's an explosion of good times. So stay strong, man. There's some great ideas. I'm excited to, and we will get to them.
Man, just the amount of creativity that you guys have, just it's mind-boggling how cool it is and how well put together it is. So bravo, and if you sent us an idea, keep an eye on the horizon, because Davy Jones will be coming soon. I don't know what I was trying to say there. If you're looking for our website, you can find it. It's heroesforge.club. It has all of the other episodes that we've recorded. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, any of your favorite apps. And a huge thank you again to all of our patrons and everyone that's given us a 5-star review on iTunes. Kristen, final thoughts on Johnny Awesome.
Final thoughts on Johnny Awesome. I don't think it will be soon enough for him to enter the Nexus.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't think so either.
He's probably already planning his entrance, as it were. Maybe he's crying in a corner because he hasn't been invited yet. But either way, I think I think when he's brought in, it will be an incredible day. And I hope he comes with an announcer pack.
Absolutely. A Johnny Awesome announcer pack. Yeah, that was awesome, but not as awesome as me.
Right? I imagine it would kind of be like Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh.
It's like, it's killing time by me.
Yeah. That would be great. We're going to call the show there. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you on Friday and Tuesday. Tons of Heroes Forge content coming at you this week, and we'll see you all in the real world.